Hello everyone, welcome to Tactica Imperialis and to today's video. Today is episode 130 of Adeptus Podcastus. We're getting frighteningly close to 150. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. Joining me as always is Remleiz from 40k Theories.
Hello everyone.
And our special guest this week is someone returning from the Podcastus' past. Ladies, gentlemen, Xenos Ball Ages, and everything in between, I give you Chickpaints.
Hello everyone. Thank you fellas for having me back on.
Always a pleasure. For those who are unaware, why don't you give us a bit of an introduction? Who are you, what do you do, and where might people find you in terms of the hobby community?
Okay, so I mainly paint, so you'll find me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm kind of an Ultramarines nut, so I mainly just feature Ultramarines, but I've been branching out with my painting with Blood Angels and Word Bearers. Chickpaints on pretty much everything. That's what I do. I like highlights. Most people have realised that by now. Yeah, that's it.
And I saw you on, someone linked it afterwards, that you were on Warhammer Community the other day.
Oh, right, yeah. So I'm like a community painter for them. So I've reviewed a couple of things for them now. And yeah, I've been on a couple of their articles. The first one was for the AOS Dominion box. And then, yeah, it's for the Kill Team box. I'm like really honoured to be featured. It's a very surreal experience.
I can imagine, yeah.
I know. It's because I like the company. I love the community. I love everything, and I like the fact that they've reached out to a lot of different painters, different ages, genders, whatever, to do stuff for them, and it just warms my heart to see so many people from our wonderful community get featured in articles. Nice.
Yeah, I get that. Obviously, I haven't really looked into the new stuff, but I'm assuming all the Warhammer Masterclass painting stuff is being done in-house and they're not asking anyone from the community yet, though I appreciate you might not be allowed to talk about that even if you had been contacted.
They haven't. If they're listening and they want to, then sure, I'd love to.
That's more than fair. And luckily, we do have some Ultramarines to get to in the news at some point today, but I think the best place to start today is, of course, with the launch of Warhammer Plus. Now, obviously, there are a lot of mixed feelings regarding Warhammer Plus at the moment. We get that. But the service went live last week at the time of this video coming out with its first set of animations as well as some other parts of its opening lineup. The aforementioned masterclasses, a couple of battle reports, and all the back-end stuff like the vaults and the Warhammer 40k app features. Now, conspicuous by its absence is the AOS app. Like, can we please get that fixed? Because the game's been out for 2 months now. But, details not really counting. But we did get to see, whether you are subscribed or not, you did get to see one episode of Hammer and Bolter, the sort of cartoony style animated series with Old Bale Eye, the Commissar Yarrick story as told by some orcs.
And I completely missed it.
Oh dear.
I watched that. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. I'm looking forward to just like all the animations are going to be brilliant. Also the free models, they're quite free. They're quite nice. But I quite like the vault. All the old White Dwarf and then Warhammer Visions. If people remember that.
Oh, that was a short-lived nightmare.
Oh god.
Well, it says there's like all 30 issues, and I'm like, wow, they actually went that long with.
They went that long?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was when White Dwarf was weekly, wasn't it?
It was the super skinny weekly one. Yeah, I remember.
God, back when that White Dwarf was like 20 pages or something.
Dark Age.
Yeah.
I like when I got back into the hobby about 6 years ago. It was at the time when they were split between the monthly and the weekly, and I was like, what have they done to White Dwarf? I'm just really glad that we have it back as we know it today.
I still pine for the days when it was run by Fat Bloke. Oh, those were the days.
I probably wasn't born.
It was back, fun enough, when Paul Sawyer, Fat Bloke, when he was running White Dwarf, that was when Phil Kelly actually first broke in to the Games Workshop, from what I can recall, because he actually ended up starting off as a contributor to White Dwarf. Okay,
well, I was born because he's been working with the team for 20 years, so I was probably born when Fat Guy was running White Dwarf, but I can't remember it.
I mean, if nothing else, Fat Bloke got immortalised at Bugman's Bar by having a burger named after him.
Yeah, I don't know if they were serving food when I went to Warhammer World the other week. If they were, I didn't get any. But if they're properly serving next time I go down, I will endeavour to remember to get one.
Get the Fat Bloke.
We weren't sure if they were serving, so we took our own food with us and had it outside.
That's fair enough, I suppose. Yeah.
Because at the minute with Steve Carino, they were serving drinks, but you weren't really. There was no one sat in Bugman's pretty much at all. So yeah, but just doubling back a second to old Baylis itself, I, as an orc aficionado, let's say that while glancing at the 6,000 points buried away under my sofa, there was quite a lot that I actually quite enjoyed about it. The story was well told, it was well voice acted, and the way it portrayed the story I think was really good. I did notice some of the animation style was a bit... What's the word I'm looking for? Because lazy feels too harsh, but sometimes you could tell that certain things had been animated and the rest of it was just a matte painting. And,
Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, but even more obvious.
Right.
Like, for example, they were showing Yarrick's uniform in a display case. And in the shot, he grabs the Baylis. And... the Baylis is like sat in 3D rendered on top, well not 3D rendered, but 2D rendered on top of the rest of the painting of the uniform, and it's super obvious in just a couple of shots of which bits. If there's something that when one object is moving and the other object that's the same is not moving in the same shot, it is very obvious sometimes. And I know some people who I've spoken to who've got Warhammer Plus and watched some of the other animations have been a little bit critical of it. Not in saying that it's bad or lazy or low quality, but just noticing those kinds of things. It's very old school animation in that way.
Yeah, it lacks like a tiny bit of polishing. I want to say I've got faith that it will get better, but yeah, time will tell. But I kind of know what you mean. They need to just get it working a little bit better.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything. Obviously, there was the teaser for Angels of Death that we've had, but I know the first episode of that is on Warhammer Plus as well. Now, I've not actually bought the subscription because the models don't particularly interest me, and I just want to hold fire on just having a look at Lore Masters to see if it's worth diving into and all of that stuff, because I'm not going to watch battle reports. I'm probably not advanced enough yet to be watching the masterclass tutorials, but the Lore Master stuff genuinely would interest me, but they haven't published any yet.
Yeah, there is, obviously, it's like, a week, so they'll add stuff to it, I'm sure. I mean, personally, I think I like the animations, and the masterclasses I'll definitely check out.
Fair enough. I think everyone will make up their own mind as the weeks go by and they add bits in, and people will decide if they want to jump on board. I've not yet, but I might, and we'll sort of play it by ear. Who knows? Maybe I'll ask for it for a Christmas present for a year's subscription. Probably not.
I'm just going to say, for my own personal opinion, currently the launch lineup is it's a bit too weak for me to actually ever want to dive in at the moment.
Yeah,
because
I've not subscribed yet either.
Because one episode of Angels of Death, a couple of bits of Hammer and Bolter, 2 battle reports, 2 painting videos, and the Vault, that just seems a bit too sparse for an opening launch lineup for me. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, everyone will see it differently, and we must also bear in mind pandemic. There may be some production delays.
Of course.
But then again, if you've got production delays, then you just delay the launch. In something like this, when they made such a huge deal about it, if there was a delay, you'd delay the launch rather than put out an anemic product. I think talk to any game dev and they'll just say, if you have a choice between launch it in anemic state or wait, they will always tell you to wait. Just ask CD Projekt Red, Ubisoft. And
otherwise, you get a situation like with that last Tony Hawk game, not the HD remaster, but the one where it's like they literally ran out of time before they had to send the games off to be printed. So literally, they had to finish off the game and then download the game as a day one patch. So basically, it's going to get to a point at some point in the future. You know, you get these neo retro game collectors, and they get a copy of Tony Hawk like 5 or 6, Tony Hawk 6, whatever it is, and literally like the server's going to be shut down, so you can't actually play the game because you can't download the actual fucking game. Oh dear.
Dear, oh dear. But actually, the only Lore Masters content there's been for Warhammer Plus was the quiz, the Lore Masters quiz that they made a little 10-question quiz on all things 40k, 30k, fantasy, AOS, well, predominantly the former 3, not the last one.
Not gonna lie, I got pretty much every single AOS question wrong.
But you don't play
I did too.
Exactly.
I did the quiz. I'm not going to say what I got. It wasn't good because I don't know AOS.
Well,
so.
I do know AOS, and I got 3.
Okay,
so
that's better than me.
Like, I got the Tau question right. You can all relax. I got the Tau question right. And I got...
I'll be honest, I liked the Tau question because it was a nice little sneaky on you.
Yeah, I realised that after I got it wrong, and I'm like, it's the 8, but no, because 2 of them are AI.
One's Earthcast, one's dead.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so Bravestorm's an AI. Ovesa is Earthcast, and he's probably old enough that he should have just turned himself into an AI by now, but he hasn't. He's still kicking with drugs.
And the rest of Firecast.
Yeah, so it's living Firecast is 6, so it's a sneaky question. But there was one question that even threw Rem, which was Eisenhorn. I mean, I've never read them, so I had no idea, but...
Yeah, that was like the main one that threw me. I was like, oh, of course, yeah, bollocks. Though I will say, it was nice of them to actually confirm that Gorka Morka is a set of a Necron Tomb World, so they actually did outright state it, so thank you for that.
Absolutely. We learned
Nothing
something.
else.
Absolutely.
And it was always heavily implied and like hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, because this is like, second edition mod before the Necrons were truly a thing, even though they were about. But yes, it has now officially been retconned to be a Tomb World.
Lovely.
Bang, bang. Oh, and before someone points out the Gorka Morka Governance magazine, yeah, that was part of Fnatic Press, which is basically just a series of homebrew rules, so doesn't count as anything canon. Deal with it. Anyway.
Fair enough. There's been a lot of, other than Warhammer Plus, the news has kind of just been bits and bobs scattered all over the place. So the Australia-New Zealand warehouse has reopened, or is about to reopen if it hasn't already. The article was a week ago, so I assume it's open. Warhammer World events are returning from the 18th of September. You can look on the article for a full list of dates, but there is an AOS 3, a 40k, a 30k, and a Kill Team tournament. I believe there may be an Underworld something as well scattered in there too.
Oh, speaking of Warhammer World and bits and bobs, I take it you've seen the Bob Biffin's Ogre Burger Challenge.
Yeah, I see that. I like
yes,
that.
Rem dropped this into our Discord after we mentioned the Fat Bloke Burger 10 minutes ago. So, yes.
I mean, come on. I was never going to get a better segue than you saying bits and bobs and Warhammer. I was never going to get a better segue than that. 2
massive burgers topped with pulled beef, mozzarella cheese, 12 onion rings and chips, 20 quid. Hoo, 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 hoo. That's a day's carbs. Right, anyway.
It's a day's meal. It's breakfast, lunch and dinner all in one. Or you need a nice big pint to wash it down.
Quite so. And probably model-wise, the newest thing in terms of the modern era was the first look at another Black Templars miniature. So we had a chat about the Emperor's Champion last week, and we actually got to see the first of the next wave of Black Templar Primaris Marines, a Primaris Initiate, I remembered the word, Initiate, which is the general name for their tactical Marines, armed with a new weapon, the Pyra Blaster.
How awesome does that sound? Like, when they come up with names for stuff, I just like that. I might just collect Black Templars for that, because it's so cool. Yeah, I like the new Emperor's Champion as well. It's all good stuff. Yeah.
I think they've actually changed the stats. Yeah, they changed the stats of the weapon.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was a mistake, wasn't it? It was damage 2, but they've now put it down to damage 1.
Yeah, because like damage 2 is like, hang on, doesn't that make it like objectively a better weapon than the Custodian Infernus Fire Pike?
It's a 16. It's basically a double range flamer at its base. Well, it's a 16-inch range flamer in its base form with -1 AP, strength 4, and now damage 1. They accidentally did print it as damage 2 the first time out, so.
Which was insane.
Yes.
So basically, it's no longer. It's cross between it's the midpoint between a flamer and a heavy flamer, so it's a medium flamer.
Quite. And I have to say, design-wise, I'm not. It feels very. No, I know I wasn't born when this was a thing, but it feels very second edition. Maybe it's just the red casing, but it feels very
it's the
old
red
school.
casing. It's the red casing.
Yeah, it just feels very old school. Like it's very chunky. It's not got very many fiddly bits. Instead of the flamer nozzle being built out of the front, it's built into the gun. A lot more than a traditional flamer where there's a nozzle on the end with all the holes and the grills and all of that stuff. It does feel very old school, and maybe that's just the paint scheme.
Can I just interject? I'm a big champion for the old school like red bolters cases and stuff. I love it. I think it's brilliant.
I never said it was a good or a bad thing. It's just an observation I made.
All right,
Also,
sorry.
The ironic thing is that back in second edition, the Black Templars didn't even have red bolts; they had blue.
Oh wow, yeah, they did. Yeah. Sorry, I'm
And they had
looking at the picture in
slightly
Discord.
different colour scheme as well. Like different coloured shoulders and that.
Yeah, no white shoulder pads.
Still at the cross though, but yeah.
Yeah, interesting. And they also tried to make a point of, yes, they've got the weapon chained to them on their wrist, as if because that seems to be a significant thing in Templar model design. I can't say I've really paid any attention to it down the years, but
It's fun enough. The in-universe reason is that they're copying Sigismund, who stole the idea from Khan, as in Khan the Betrayer.
oh right, okay, fair enough.
Because Sigismund was invited to fight in the World Eaters fighting pits during the Great Crusade, and Sigismund was like, I like the idea of chaining weapons to your arms. I like that. I'm going to do it. And the Black Templars just followed suit.
It's like, hey, check out my chain. I nicked it.
Check out my bling.
Yeah, this then confirms that the Black Templars will either be getting an upgrade sprue for the various Primaris kits, or they'll be getting some unique kits onto themselves.
I think it's right. I might be wrong, but I had a look at their current upgrade sprue, and they do have a lot of chained wrist weapons. So my feeling is it might be an upgrade sprue, like a big upgrade sprue. It'd be nice to be wrong, and they have like their own special box and everything. But I think it might be upgrades.
Yeah, because there's already an upgrade sprue for the Firstborn Marine, so I imagine there'll be one for Primaris at some point as well.
It just copies the style. I just noticed that, and I thought, yeah, kind of makes sense.
I just got to upscale it. That's all I got to do, really. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of Primaris infantry now of similar armor but different designs. Like there's the two different types of intercessor with the melee and the range, but they're two separate boxes. And so it may be that rather than, hey, this is a box of Black Templar intercessors with a mix of assault and melee weapons and and heavy weapons, and thus it being super overstuffed, they may decide, okay, you just buy basic intercessors and assault intercessors, and here's the upgrade sprue. I think just in terms of reboxing and making the product shift, it makes more sense for them to do an upgrade sprue for the regular Marines, like shoulder pads, like the upgrade sprue you show here.
is there a reason why the assault intercessors are more expensive than the regular intercessors?
Yeah, because they have. Monetarily, I don't know. You get a lot more. I want to say you get a lot more options in the assault intercessor box. You get a lot of close combat stuff, but I hadn't noticed that they were.
No, I hadn't say I'd looked.
I think it'd be a better idea if they made the assault intercessors and regular intercessors like just one kit with like different weapon options. Like like how the third edition Orc Boys, they had the option for shooters or sluggers and choppers.
They still
something
do.
to that effect. Yeah,
The kit still does.
You know what I mean though.
No, I do. The Chaos Space Marine kit still does it, where you can have chainswords or bolters. Not that I've built the box of Chaos Space Marines that I got one time, but I know they do have the versatility. I just worry that given the amount of unique weapons they have, and also the different legs, you'd basically have a choice of which legs do you put in, because all the assault intercessors have runny, chargy legs, and all the basic intercessors have standy, shooty legs. So
you could do a mix and match, like maybe like, you know, a marine like sprinting into cover can be either an assault marine or with a gun. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely, you could do that. It's just one of those. I know they made a point of like all the assault intercessors can run, so it won't look like you've got a bunch of dudes standing around with a bolt pistol and chainsaw. If you go down that route, I remember them making a point of it around Indomitus.
I think the biggest difference between, other than the weapons, between the two is that assault intercessors have a different style shoulder pad. It's cosmetic, but it's, you know.
Oh right, I didn't even realise that.
Yeah. To be honest, I've only painted like 2 assault intercessors, but
okay.
I remember it.
Fair enough. That's some of the things that I hadn't even clocked.
Oh, sticking with Primaris for a second. Sorry, excuse me for all the coughing. It's not well. Anyway, what the hell are they thinking charging 200 quid for that fucking Bandai figure?
Yeah, here we go. Rant of the week.
Because like the regular Ultramarine Intercessor Primaris Bandai figure was nowhere near this expensive. Like, it wasn't even 3 digits from like, I think it was something like 80 quid or something. And this is 200.
Oh, the Gravis Captain. Yeah, I know. I looked at that and I was like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind having that. But, yeah, I think £200 is
a bit much.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because I first saw the picture, I was like, oh, that looks really cool. That looks really good next to my Intercessor. Not for 200 quid, it won't. No. Unless the guys at Hobby Link Japan want to actually send me a copy. You know, they probably won't, but worth asking.
Worth asking. But it is a really good design with the wrist-mounted bolter and the power sword and the Gravis armor. It is noticeably a bit.
It
chunkier,
does look nice. It does. I'm not denying that.
But not 2.5 times nicer.
It's not worth 200 quid in my opinion.
No, I would agree.
Like if they were charging something like, I don't know, 120 quid or something, and make basically like, you know, like a 50% markup on the original, it'd be easier to justify because it is chunkier. But it's hard to, you know, justify more than twice the price.
I think someone pointed out on YouTube the other day that the legs aren't quite the right size compared to the rest of the body.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Their proportions are they're not wrong. They're wrong, but just tiny amount for people to look at it and just think, oh yeah, its legs are slightly too small.
I mean, it's not as bad as do you remember the original promo pictures for the Intercessor figure? And the arm was out of its fucking socket.
Oh yeah, I remember that now you say it. Yeah,
I don't. I'll trust you guys.
It was like kneeling down, like holding like the bolter against its chest, but like when he had the 360 turntable thing to show it off, like the arm was actually off the ball joint.
Quality.
Indeed. However, if you want some more soft Warhammer merchandise, and hopefully it won't be so stupidly expensive, may I draw your attention to the new upcoming range of Warhammer Plushies?
Yes, I like these. I want them. I like it. I love it. I want them.
Yes. So the only one they've shown off up to now is the Nurgling plushie. Yes. Rather than going for something vaguely cute, they decided to open with a Nurgling.
Did you not also see the Griffhound?
Did they actually show off the Archibald, or did they just hint at it?
They showed off the Griffhound, yeah.
Yes. So, if you don't know who that is, Archibald is a Griffhound from the Role Models comic. And is therefore, well, according to the canon of Role Models, the goodest boy ever. And I've got to be honest, I do kind of really want an Archibald plushie.
Are they both Warhammer World exclusives, though? I may have read that wrong.
It's Warhammer merchandise, so it will be there's a very large Nurgling version at the Tottenham Court Road store in London, which will be there tomorrow at the time of recording.
Yeah, I read
but
that.
yeah, the plushies themselves will be Warhammer merchandise, and there's a separate website for that.
So I'm just showing this this little banner for the Salamanders range. Do you notice anything amiss?
Is the captain not got a weapon in his left hand?
His arm's fallen off.
He should be holding a sword, and he's I know. Actually, that model, I've made a few of those. The guy can be pointing or waving a sword.
No. The Marine at the back holding the grenade, but next to the flamer guy. His arm has fallen off.
Oh my god!
I've just seen that. I was so focused.
No.
That lad needs some.
That's almost as bad as that image from one of the Drukhari codices, where literally there's a huge block of Lego in the background as well.
Oh dear!
Oh my god! What went wrong? Wow.
I have no idea.
No. Yeah. Well, we'll see if they fix it. They probably won't. But yes. So what else have we had? Probably the next biggest reveal for models was for Warhammer 30k as 2 sets of Praetors. One has been pushed out into the world for the Imperial Fists, and a new set has been revealed for the Ultramarines.
We have 2 for the Imperial Fists. So we've got there's a normal Praetor in Mark III armor, obviously upgrade it, and then they've got a Tartarus version, which are very nice. I've pre-ordered them both because they're people are going to scream, but I'm going to turn them into Ultramarines. And the actual Ultramarine Praetors, oh wow! Like, if I had a list of things that I would want them to do for Ultramarine Praetors, they've done it. I'm not disappointed.
I mean, they are nice, yeah. The is it Cataphract? No, that's not.
Yeah, it's Cataphracti. Yeah,
it is. The Cataphracti one is really nice with the massive axe that the Suzerain Invictus type bodyguards have, and is it a combi melter? It looks like a combi melter.
Yeah, combi melter.
It is a combi melter. I think it's like a Legantine axe. So yeah, this Invicta Suzerain have those. Yeah, I like it. I like the axe. It's quite an imposing model. Yeah,
the other one, the power armored one, I love the gun. I'm just
Volkite,
not.
Isn't it? It's Volkite, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Volkite.
Yeah, Volkite's Serpenta.
And I love the sort of big winged eagle shoulder pad, and the back banner's gorgeous. I don't really like either of the 2 heads. Like
the bear heads, you mean?
No, the both of the heads for the power armored one, the bear head and the helmeted one.
Oh.
Because the bear head is completely serviceable, and the Tabletop Inquirer has annihilated it. But the helmet,
Brian.
Yes, the helmeted one, I like most of it. It's just I don't like the faceplate. I don't know. I just don't like the faceplate. It looks odd.
It matches up with there's some 30k helmets you can get, like Praetorian Guard or something, and it kind of matches with that style.
I was gonna say it might look better if you just painted a different colour, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. It's
like that, is it?
It could be. I don't know. It just looks a little odd because there's no separation anyway. It's so impassive, even compared to like the Mark III armor. Yeah, it's fine. I don't know if I would have designed it that way if I was on the design team. Everything else, like the toilet brush, comb, and the leaves. Sorry, I know it's a wreath. I'll get that right. The wreath, I really do like. The design of it is just I don't like the face on either of them. And if I could, I'd remove the wreaths from the helmet and put it around the other guy's actual head, so he was wearing them on his head, and probably go with that as my combination.
I just realised who the what the face of the power armor Captain Praetor looks like. It's fucking Casey Jones from Ninja Turtles.
Oh god, yeah.
It's Casey Jones as a Space Marine.
Oh no.
I think the 30k stuff we've seen this year, from Malachus to the the accidentally leaked Sons of Horus Praetor, I think they look beautiful. They're very, very nicely made models. Whether you like them or not, it's obviously objective, but they are nice. And it's nice that Heresy is getting some love, and hopefully with rumours and stuff, they might get some more love soon.
Yeah, there's obviously it's been going for a while now, the discussion of will there be a Heresy reboot for a new edition or something like that somewhere, and there is a gap in the 40k release schedule in October, which I'm sincerely hoping is, come on, let's get the AOS stuff sorted, because you've already had to delay Stormcast and War Clans back to September. You need to push some AOS stuff. But an entire month of no 40k may mean that they are going to do something in that gap. Who knows?
Fingers crossed. I would love to get my hands on some plastic versions, like that Spartan, maybe. I've got one, resin, and it's a beautiful model, but it's very expensive. So hopefully a box like that might, like the Calf box and the Prospero box, it might, bring in more people.
Oh, someone drew my attention to, I think it was on the I don't know where it was. It was a picture somewhere of the Imperial Fist Praetors, like the pre-order little poster thing. And instead of saying the Horus Heresy, it said the Horus Heresy Siege of Terror.
No, I saw that, and
I must have missed that.
I was on there this morning at 10 o'clock when the pre-order window opened, and I didn't notice that. So I'm going to lean towards that being photoshopped, because it's quite easy to do.
It could absolutely be.
Yeah, because obviously we're going to get, at some point in the Horus Heresy game, we're going to get to the Siege of Terror, but there's still things we need to get to in the game before that. Most notably Beta Garmin.
They did cover that slightly with Titanicus, did they? Was it covered in Titanicus?
It was mentioned, I think.
One of the campaign books. I haven't played Titanicus for ages, but yeah, there are. I wouldn't want them to jump from the last box game, which was Prospero, to then the end of the Heresy. You're right. There's loads of in between stuff that they can do. Because we had Cygnus Prime, we just had the Thramus Crusade.
Yep.
So what's the big major thing that we've got left? We've got Beta Garmin, we've got Pluto.
I guess
everything to do with Imperium Secundus and the run home.
Yeah. The Ruins. Oh yeah, the Ruin Storm. That's a big one. Yeah. Because I imagine somewhere we are going to get Pluto, just so we can have some focus on both the Imperial Fist and the Alpha Legion before we get to Siege of Terror. So, because when was the last time the Imperial Fist actually got any focus in the Black Books?
The Imperial Fist, I think they were, I want to say 5, but I could completely be wrong on that one. But I feel like it was 5.
And that was just basic Legion rules, wasn't it?
Well, obviously, it had Dawn's rules and everything else. Dawn does have rules, and Sigismund has
Legion
rules.
Yeah.
Oh, basic Legion rules. Sorry, I didn't realise that was under basic. Apologies. Yeah, I think it might not be a bad idea to push the Imperial Fists again. Wouldn't hurt.
Plus, I can't imagine them doing the reboot before they release Jagged Khan's model, because we're still waiting for that.
Oh, I know. People have been asking that for such a long time. It's nice. It's nice to see other legions get some love. It really is. But it's one more Primarch. It's the last one, and then people will be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. Good point.
And I mean, we know we're going to get an Emperor model at some point, but I think they'll save that for Siege of Terror.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because we saw it was ages ago, but there was some rules for Custodes that mentions about the Emperor being on the tabletop. So
exactly, yeah.
That'd be nice.
So I guarantee that when that model comes out, no one's going to be happy because it won't live up to expectations.
I was wondering how it works on the tabletop. Would the Emperor just die to what? A bloody regular Space Marine? Be interesting. You'll have bonkers rules, I'm sure, and cost a fortune.
2+ invulnerable save on 3d6.
Yeah, toughness 20, 70 wounds, insane.
When you deploy this model on the battlefield, roll a d6
You win.
on a 1+, you win the game.
Yeah.
This roll cannot be modified in any way.
Except when facing corrupted horrors, then it's a 2+.
Yeah. But speaking of Titanicus, since we just mentioned it, that's as good a segue as I'm going to get into the War Master Iconoclast.
Oh, the big boy.
Big chainsaw. It doesn't make
The
sense
very
really,
big
does
boy.
it? But it's a beautiful model. I like it. Yeah, he's a nice. It's nice.
It is really
I want
nice.
to get back into Titanicus. I think that might be kind of the model that draws me back in.
Oh, have you seen the conversions people have been planning on that?
No, go on.
Or something to that effect. Basically, people want to make things like that.
Like
Okay.
I like
What?
it. That should be an official model. That's what is it? A Vindicator laser destroyer with the
Vindicator chainsaw destroyer
on the front. That needs rules. Someone out there needs to make some rules for that.
I tell you what that reminds me of. Remember Robot Wars?
Oh, it does, yeah. Robot
Yeah.
Wars. I love that.
You're going to have to put this on screen or put a link tag.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for giving me some extra work, Ram.
You're welcome.
They do give a little bit of data on this sort of details of this thing. So they say that if it was its canonical height is 40 meters tall, which is, for context, about 120 feet tall.
Which doesn't seem that much.
No, it doesn't. It seems really short.
Unless you fell from that height.
Oh, I mean, 120
Oh, yeah.
feet is a long way up. Don't get
I
me
know.
wrong, it's a long way up, but
The problem with Titans is there's so many conflicting heights for the things, you know. They're too short, they're too high. It's because of so many different authors over so many different years. And, you know, we've not really had a definitive... well, I guess we have had a definitive answer on the height, but yeah, they do seem small compared to what we would imagine and read about.
yeah.
Because I don't know if you remember what's it, like Adeptus Titanica, like the older version of Titan Legions back in like around 2nd edition 40k, and there was like official artwork for like Arriva Titan. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Arriva is like the midway point between a Warhound and a Warlord, so a medium-sized Titan, and it was like absolutely towering over a city. And I think I remember hearing a story like Andy Chambers, who was one of the game developers, actually said to the artist, like, Arriva's not that large, and the artist turned around and said, I don't care, it looks cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's all you need.
Yeah, because your mental image of a Titan is never that it strides between buildings. You think of it walking over buildings. That's sort of your default image of a Titan, is that it walks over buildings.
Yeah, if Remleiz just put the image up on Discord. That's huge. It's also really cool, but yeah, that...
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It's cool, but I mean, you have to wonder, who the hell sewed the fucking tabard that's like taller than a cathedral?
I know, it's the size of half a city. It's like, yes, and it gets damaged. Oh, I love the classic artwork, though. That's... Oh, nostalgia.
Absolutely.
You have to save a good old-fashioned 2nd edition style artwork, like with the Bane Lord type. That's my favourite. The Bane Lord.
I love this one too. I know it's mental. I like it. Oh,
I just love the fact that the Bane Lord actually got like re-mentioned back in the Titan Death novel. Like right at the end, the one of the traitor Warlord Titans actually turns into a Bane Lord, and that's fucking awesome.
I have not read that book.
Because it's Titans getting possessed by like a demon, and it ends up warping the Titan into a Bane Lord Titan.
I read some novels with Bane Lords in 40k, so it'd be interesting to find out possessed Titans and that lot from the heresy. Yeah, but that's cool. I like that.
Oh, speaking of novels, this is a little bit of late breaking news, but there's a possibility by the time this podcast goes out, the next Siege of Terror book might be on pre-order because Graham McNeil just tweeted how he just finished it. Just finished reading it.
Hey, breaking news.
So,
That's Warhawk, isn't it?
yeah. By Chris Raitt.
God, I'm so behind on the heresy books. I keep meaning to catch up, but I'm like, I don't know the book number. It's Talon, so I'm like way behind. But I kind of want to skip and just start the Siege of Terror books. But I like the bits in between will annoy me if characters and events are mentioned, and I'll be like, I don't know what that means. So I'll get there.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. But yeah, maybe. I mean, they have it. We're recording this on the Friday, so we don't know what the next. We do know that the pre-orders this week is going to be Arena Mortis for Underworlds, and in that article they do then go on to show the releases for the week, and there is no mention of Warhawk. So maybe the following week. It will be on pre-order for the general public.
Yeah.
Well, limited edition anyway.
I'll be going for that straight away.
It's probably also worth mentioning that those pre-orders, come back to Forge World, included a set of Legion Graviton guns.
Where did they come from? They've not had them to buy like that for a long time.
The land of out of stock is where they came from.
Yeah, I like that. That's the new slogan. But I like them. I like the look of those guns. They are cool. Yeah, but a random thing to throw up for pre-order, I thought.
Yeah, I think it's. Some people were saying that. Well, basically, it's kind of a situation where they actually they said it was like last chance to buy, and got rid of them from the store, and now they're back, which probably is annoyed. I think it's annoyed a few people, and like so. When you mean last chance to buy, what you mean is it'll be back in a bit, probably with a markup.
Can't I pretty much every single time they re-release 3rd edition Space Hulk?
I'm not an expert. I have got some gravitation guns in my armies knocking about, so I'm not sure if it's a like a remake of the original ones, like they did with recently-ish. They brought out those. Bolters that had the chain attachment thing in front. Yeah, so they like brought out these weapon upgrades, because I know some of them, due to their age, aren't compatible with the plastic Mark II and Mark III and Mark IV Marines. So it could be something to do with just making them compatible with the plastic kits.
That's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an expert, but that's from past experience. That's what I would think.
Certainly
seems reasonable enough, yeah.
The other bit of news or reveals that we got takes us from the spiraling heights of Titans to the dingy depths of the Necromundan Underhive, with the House Grime military attaches.
Ooh, those guys, yeah, they look great. Right, I just love how the bloke could be just used as like a rogue trader or like an Imperial Guard commander or something. He just looks so awesome.
Yeah, there's versatility of that model. You're not just locked into one game system. I like it.
I also love his bionic leg. That looks like a lion's paw, like clutching a ball. I like that.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah. So that is the Krieg Mester, and the underhand is the Jagerkin. They've got a very nice set of armor, still nice and detailed. But I also I really like the. I'm guessing it's a burn or a brand that they've got around their eye. I think that's a really nice touch. And the armor looks kind of like a corset, even more than the other one looks at least like it's functional. It's filigreed, but it's still armor. This kind of reminds me more of like Sister's armor for the Jagerkin.
I want to post that. Because I've lost the bloody link.
Fair. So it says that any Necromundan gang can take this attaché, but particularly House Goliath seems to be the one which will be the best one, because their rules are actually found in House of Chains, by the sounds of it, according to this.
Right. I need to go through that, 'cause I haven't looked for that book in a long time.
I mean, there's been several books since then to get through. So,
with that second one, the Jagerkin.
Yeah.
Someone pointed out a very nice little Easter egg in that design, in that their armor is based off original old Rogue Trader artwork.
Yeah, I saw that. I like that. Nod back to. Oh, just
Like what's it? The Necromundan Spiders Regiment, which is appropriate. I'm trying to get the where is it? Right. If you put them side by side, it is a very, very nice little Easter egg.
They are very similar, aren't they?
Yeah, the black jackets, the white trousers, the yellow boots, the spider icon, the red and yellow split number badge on the breastplate. It is a very nice little Easter egg back to first edition. That's one thing I really like about Necromunda, that there's so many nods back to Rogue Trader era days. Like House of Shadow, for example, they dropped like a whole bunch of lore regarding the fucking Sahardouin, who have not been around since, they got name dropped in one of the Horus Heresy books as fighting against Space Wars, but aside from that, we hadn't seen them since first edition. The Shark people.
Yeah, I've really not kept up with Necromunda aside from the models, because obviously I haven't bought the books. But it's good that they do actually really care about just writing the background for it, as well as just putting out cool models and rules. They actually do take the time to write the fluff.
Yeah, I mean, all you do is considering each book is basically focusing on one house pretty much, and it's really thick. It's thick, twice as thick as a fucking Codex in most cases. And including rules. Basically, it's mostly fluff. It's got rules, but it's mostly fluff, essentially.
Those were the days when codices were mostly fluff. Oops, sorry.
I mean, in fairness, we did get the brief resurgence back in 8th edition.
Yeah, I've got the 9th edition Alt Codex though, and it's
a quarter of its fluff and the rest of its rules.
I understand you've got to bulk it out with Crusade and all the new stuff, and there's more units, and you do need to, the old 104 pages that it had back in 4th edition, there's now a lot more units need to fill up that 104 pages. I get it.
Yeah, but when you compare it to the 8th edition Alt Codex...
Yeah, the only character that gets any real time is Gazkul gets 3 pages, but a lot of the biggest thing that's changed in the codices is less how many pages are devoted to a thing. It's how much of that page is taken up by artwork.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
For example, the page on the Cult of Speed, it gets a page, but actually it gets 3 paragraphs, because the other half of the page is artwork.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of. First edition Age of Sigmar.
I didn't buy any battle tomes in... Well, I didn't buy many battle tomes in AOS 1. I only ended up buying the Stormcast one, the Daughters and the Idoneth one, but those two were basically AOS 2 books already.
Because when AOS 1 came out, one of the main praises that AOS 1 came out, the rule book and that, was that this artwork is bloody gorgeous. But one of the main complaints was, where's all the fucking lore? There's nothing here.
Yeah, the AOS 2 and 3 books did not have that problem.
No.
They really didn't.
Yeah, that's a big book. I've got it, the AOS 3 book. It's a huge. I like it. So I'm not a big fantasy player, so I can appreciate the models and stuff. I don't know the rules or anything, but yeah, the new book is packed full of stuff.
But well, I'm not going to get anywhere whinging about how much artwork, because clearly someone's taken the time to draw it, so I'm not going to whinge about it over much.
What I am going to whinge about, however, is that how the Black Library Coming Soon page hasn't been updated since May.
Still.
It still has Coming Soon in May. It's nearly September. Actually, by the time this comes out, it is September.
Oh dear.
Like 3 months without an update. It's a bit silly. Come on.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's been a while. You know, I do feel there's been a slight sort of communication issue over a few things. Maybe not affecting 40k, but you know, 30k and just stuff not being in stock or disappearing, and not, you know, customers not being sort of kept in the loop. Perhaps that might be linked to that. I don't know.
It might be, but it's still annoying.
Yeah. And for example, they talked about in an article recently that the Auric War Clans and Stormcast Eternals battle tomes have both been delayed. They were supposed to be out by now, but they're not, because there was a delay. And they just snuck it in at the bottom of an article about Gryph-hounds.
Here's some Gryph-hounds. Aren't they cute? By the way, your battle tomes aren't going to be out for a while. They've been delayed. Bye-bye.
There's the bad news underneath. It's like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I do see what you mean about communication. Like, if something gets delayed, that's fine. We understand it's a challenging time at the moment for supply, demand, delivery, and everything. Yeah. We get that, but at least just be like, okay. So this is due to be out then. However, it will be delayed, rather than sort of saying retroactively, oh, it's coming at this point because it got delayed. You could just say it was supposed to be out now, but we've had to delay it. I think people will be a bit more appreciative of that. Of like, why did pre-orders look so anemic this week? Oh, there was a delay. Sorry. Well, we assume there was a delay. We're taking GW at their word here, and I'm inclined to believe them.
Still, though, to be told what's going on, I mean, because I get a lot of people ask me questions about availability of products on the websites, and I don't really have a good answer to give people. So if we had something a bit more official, I think we'd all be happier.
Yeah, I quite agree with that.
Even just on Twitter, if they could just tweet, like, sorry, it's going to be delayed or whatever, and then later on a more official post is made, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I just saw something that I'd forgotten about. Did you two see the Imperium magazine series that they're going to do?
Oh, that's like
it's Conquest, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Conquest 2.0.
I've seen that.
It's basically it has Necrons instead of Plague Marines, yeah.
And a new exclusive captain, I believe.
I know, that's the guy. I'm like, I would love to have that model, so I'd probably subscribe for that.
I've seen some people have mixed feelings about that Captain Marine. Because, like, the way he looks like, he just seems to be like, yes, this is my sword, kind of thing.
Oh, the stance of the sword. Yes, it's so cool.
Like, he's got his gun held down, he's got a sword held above his head, and he's up just looking at his sword. Like, I know that the whole point of it is basically meant to be like, you know, rallying his men, like, come on, let's go, charge, kind of thing. But I think if the head position was changed ever so slightly, it'd probably look a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, because it looks like... I think the other way they could be trying to do it is that he's in a parrying pose. Like, he's blocking whatever's attacking him. So his gun's back and he's braced his right leg. So he looks like he's parrying an attack. But that's not clear if that is what they're going for.
If that was the case, it would look a lot better if it was part of, like, say, a diorama base. Like, if you had, like, I don't know, like, a big orc war boss coming down with, you know, with a big chopper or something smashing against it.
Opposing thing to make so it makes sense when you put them together or you see them together. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then when you use them apart, they'll still make sense. Yeah.
They could have easily done that as well. There's enough Necrons in there that they could have had, I don't know, an exclusive, I don't know, Royal Warden model or Cryptek model. Like, they've done enough unique Necron models here and there and enough unique Space Marines here and there that they could have found an Overlord that was in a smashy or a stabby pose. Heck, even the Scorpek Lord looks like it's swinging its sword. That would do.
Yeah. Also, can we laugh at his stupid haircut?
It's a very modern haircut. Let's just say that. And move on before I say something that gets me in trouble.
It looks like Macklemore. It's a Macklemore haircut.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's a bad joke, but it's also a very, very true and funny joke.
Just look at that hair. It's Macklemore.
It is. Sorry, I'm just in the picture. Oh, yeah. Yes.
The Marines. There we go. New chapter. It can't be any worse name than the Purple Stars.
No.
Don't worry, I'll be ranting about a stupid story later on, don't worry.
Right. I think we've pretty much covered most, if not all, of the news. Like, there's a little article here about the new update to Synapse creatures and synaptic links for Tyranids in the Charadon book, but I think otherwise we've covered the news, I would say, in terms of what we've got here.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would say so. So why don't we get to that story while it's fresh in everybody's mind?
Right, 1 second. Right, so this story comes once again from the Dark Imperium Anthology book, and yes, I've been going through this because some of these are great and some of these are absolutely stupid and some of these are absolutely batshit insane, and this is all three.
Great, stupid, and insane.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'm locked in. Here we go.
Yeah, so this story is one that has been mentioned before, like, it has been name dropped. It is the one called High Fleet Horror. And I'm just going to point out by saying that this story tries so hard to be over-the-top edgy, it goes full-blown grimdark in terms of its edginess. And this is coming from a Night Lords player. Just bear that in mind.
Yeah, not exactly a Night Lords player that approves of all of the things they've done with modern Night Lords, but yes,
we don't talk about that novel.
I know we don't talk about that. Moving on.
But by the way, Disimonia, we're still waiting for that review. Thank you. I know you're still working on it. All 12 pages. Anyway. High Fleet Horror. So basically, we start off on some innocuous, quote-unquote, factory world. Not a forge world. It's not a full-blown forge world. It's a factory world. Mm-hmm. And we start off in the corner of some dingy bar where you have some part-time doctor who's got a little, like, medicine counter at the back of a bar who's like treating someone for chemical burns, and he's like, right, you need to ask your supervisor for some, gloves to work with these chemicals. Like, oh, I can't, he'll fire me. Well, if you don't, your arms will fall off. Oh, okay. To start with, yeah. So the two end up leaving the bar eventually, but before they do, they see like a bunch of Imperial Guard officers and arbitrators and that walking around because they know that an attack from someone is coming, but they don't know what. There's like, it'll be fine. We got the guard, we got the arbitrators, we'll be fine. They leave the bar, stopped by the arbitrators, like, identification, please. Scans over. You're wanted man. You're under arrest because you're wanted by the Adeptus Mechanicus because you're a rogue janitor. What? Okay then. The other guy's like, I didn't do anything. Yeah, he didn't do anything. He was just a patient. Doesn't matter. He's arrested. He's a criminal. They get arrested, and there's like an Imperial Guard soldier who's a deserter, like in this cell as well. It's like, oh, what are you here for? Oh, cowardice. Why? Who are you running from? Oh, High Fleet Kraken. Oh, yeah, High Fleet Kraken's on the way to this world. Oh, alarms go off. Arbitrators start releasing everyone from the cells and giving them lasguns. It's like, right, world's under attack. You're free. Here's a gun. Go out and shoot some bugs.
Right.
So they get pressed down to the front lines. You got like swarms of nids coming round. The doctor guy, who, by the way, also happens to be a latent psyker because of fucking course he is.
Why is everyone a latent psyker in this anthology?
I don't know, it's fucking lazy storytelling, but I don't know, fucking hell. Anyway, they see punch people getting like cut down. They see an entire column of Bane blades getting ripped apart by about 40 Carnifexes.
What?
40 Carnifexes. Bear in mind, these are 2nd edition Carnifexes. So, the big round balls with the big, scythe arms.
Screamer killers.
Yeah. The old Screamer... Well, technically, they were actually only officially Screamer killers in tail end of 1st edition. They were officially Carnifexes in 2nd, but they still had the quote-unquote Screamer killer nickname. But anyway... spitting fireballs at these Bane blades, turning them into piles of bloody mush. How a Bane blade can be a pile of bloody mush, I don't know. I assume they mean in regards to the crew inside, but the way it's described makes it sound as if it's like the tank itself is bleeding, which sounds stupid, but I'm going to assume it's a bit of a misinterpretation by the author. But anyway. So people start fleeing. It's like, okay, fuck this. Oh no, we've been coated in white sticky stuff. Oh no, we can't move. And it turns out they've been caught by Strangleweb.
Okay.
Not just regular soldiers, but like, people's pet dogs, children and stuff like that as well, who are screaming and crying. They get taken aboard the hive ships.
Okay, right. Now they've rewritten this bit of the canon. Go on.
I know, it gets worse. This is where it starts to get over the top edgelordy. Like, the main character wakes up. Like he's on the floor of this hive ship. There's some people tied to the walls with goop, like via aliens. And the author makes a big point how it's like defenseless women and children. It goes to emphasize how it's children screaming and crying. A bunch of lictors come out, starts eating the children with their tentacles, like punching the tentacles through their heads or up through their jaws into their brains to eat their brains. And I'm just thinking, fucking hell, do you have any issues or what, mate? Anyway, well, the rest of these prisoners end up getting escorted up to another chamber where Nids are performing live dissections. Like, one guy's literally just lying on a slab, and the Nids are literally performing a live dissection on him, like pulling out intestines, just looking at the intestines, going, and just tossing him aside. It's like, what is this nonsense? It's so over the top, it's just funny. And the guy the latent psyker ends up starts scanning and scanning the hive mind and oh, what do they want? I don't know, I'll just scan it. Oh.
God.
Turns out that one objective is just survive, and they're doing it to survive, and they're coming to target humans specifically because humans have a highly mutagenic genetic sequence. He's about to get dissected next. Boom, boom, bang, bang, big commotion. Hey, look, it's the Space Marines. Come with us, Doctor! Running out the thing. Oh no, some spacemen got taken down by some lictors and some zoanthropes and blah, blah, blah. Running through the snail ship, as it's called, literally because it's a giant snail. It's the old rogue trader hive ship, the snails. Oh, the spacemen have planted a bomb and blown it up. It's like, oh, that was unfortunate, but hey, I'm now going to dedicate the rest of my life to fighting the hive fleets. There we go. The end is like, what is this shit?
Oh, that's quality.
With any species other than Nids, you could theoretically get away with it.
You could get away with it if it was Drukhari, because that sounds something that Drukhari would actually do.
Orcs? You can get away with it with orcs.
I'll just show you a screenshot of the dissection scene, just so you can see how. Again, bear in mind, this is old lore. This is from a 3rd edition anthology written about 2nd edition era Nids, possibly even earlier. But I'm going for 2nd edition because the way they described the zoanthropes was having shriveled bodies, giant hands, and huge antlers, which is like the 2nd edition model.
Weird, just reading that. It's like, right, so the Tyranids are now abducting people.
It's like, why don't you just give them the anal probe while you're at it,
I know, it's like, someone's watched too much Aliens, I think.
Also, I may be wrong here, but I think the correct term for a dissection for something that's still alive is called a vivisection.
Vivisection, yeah.
But yeah, this story was absolutely batshit insane. Over the top hilarious without...
that was an option. You chose not to have anaesthetic. Oh.
It was so over the top edgy. It literally went past being grimdark and went blown to being full blown grimdark.
Yeah, I've got to agree. It's quite amusing.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I can, at the time though, especially with the popularity of Alien, I think having the Tyranids, a lot of people probably who were exposed to the Tyranids but not into the hobby may have thought, oh, this game has xenomorphs. Neat. And didn't read any further than, oh, they have xenomorphs and a hive mind. Neat. And just decided to make their own version of, hey, what would a xenomorph hive mind look like?
I'll just read this one little bit, right? The dreadful sight caused a wailing and a sobbing and a screeching with terror of children among the humans. Excuse me. The lictors moved in, seized the nearest soft-bodied humans and barbed flesh hooks and inserted tentacles through their eyes, temples, or beneath their jaw. Those seized went limp almost instantly as the transfer of brain tissue began. And it's like, just going on about it's like, hey, guess what, kids? We're going to have little kids getting eaten by lictors, having their brains sucked out through their eyes. Grimdark!
Just, no.
I mean, like, between those two sentences, there was actually a lot of fillers describing how horrific the hive ship is, but it's just... Mate. Part of me's thinking, no wonder the story never got fucking republished in digital.
Yeah, because it's not just out of date canon, it's complete...
I tell you what it is as well. It's like the author went out of his way to write a story based upon that one piece of Rogue Trader era NID work that was actually banned by Games Workshop for being too horrific. This one. The one that had a big sticker on it saying, do not use. Because GW found it was too disgusting. It's like they tried to write a story based on that.
Oh wow, I've not seen this artwork before. Well,
GW banned it, so...
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying I've not seen it being shared around or anywhere because that's like, yeah, I can see why that got banned. Blimey.
Like the naked people having like the weird spider penis monsters shoving it into their mouths. It's like, ooh, yeah, okay.
That's like H.R. Geiger vibes kind of thing.
Speaking of Giga and that, do you remember when the 3rd edition Hive Titan was literally just the alien queen?
I see.
Yes,
I wasn't in the hobby at that time, so
I know it had a head that looked like the alien queen. I didn't know how far they went into the alien queen aesthetic besides just making the head look shaped that way.
Like, you just look at it, it's the fucking alien queen, but with a gun.
That's the alien queen with a gun. Inspiration. It's a classic film. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you know, it's not as cheesy as the old 2nd edition Hive Tyrant.
Oh no, I remember that coming out, and at the time I was like, "Wait, that looks so cool." But yeah,
It's better. It's better than the 3rd edition one. Like, I know it's stumpier and stuff, but like the pose is better.
I think we can all agree that the current one is better by far.
Yes, the modern Hive Tyrant is very good.
It's like a faithful update of the 2nd edition one in a way.
It is. Yeah, you can still see some designs. I like it. Yeah, like I say, I remember the 2nd edition Tyrant coming out in White Dwarf. I saw it read it in White Dwarf, and I loved it at the time. And yeah.
Oh god, I just remembered. I just saw the original Tyrant Guard from 3rd edition. How stupid they looked.
Oh, the fan art. They look.
The walnut shield.
Yeah, so weird. Oh my god.
Oh, I've got so much work to do editing this episode now.
You're welcome.
I'm joking. I will endeavour, and yes, comments, you can yell at me if I haven't done it, but I've got a very busy weekend ahead of me, so I will do what I can to edit all this stuff in. Unless you've got another Dark Imperium story to share,
as of yet, no. But there is a couple. There is one I do want to read for next time.
I think next episode was planned to be the Goblight episode, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Just but as a backup, just in case.
Yeah.
Because it's actually a Gav Thorpe story, so I want to try and get that one done. Is just in case. Known thy enemy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Well, jumping forward 6 editions, I actually finally got round to reading the Caiaphas Cain novella, Old Soldiers Never Die.
Any good?
It's such a great character. I love him.
Yeah, I read it in one sitting on the train. It was only 100 or so pages, but I actually really did enjoy it. Even though I've not read any Kane literature before, and thus I didn't know who the characters were, I know who Amberley Vale is by association. I still actually really engage with it quite well. And they actually included something that I wasn't expecting. So, for those who don't remember this novella, it was a couple of years ago that they released it. It basically was Kane in a zombie apocalypse movie type thing. Like, there's a zombie plague, and Kane needs to survive it and fix it. Where the dead are climbing out of their graves level of zombie apocalypse, and they're having to burn all their own dead. It's some sort of infection that kills you and then brings you back to life. That's sort of the idea.
So zombie plague.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like, isn't that Noble's Rot or something?
No, actually. Your first thought is, yeah, it's probably... and to be fair, even they think, and it is a Nurgle plague. But Nurgle's
is it the plague of unbelief?
Damn it, you... Yes, it is. Yes. Now, for those of you who are confused, as I was for a couple of seconds, the Plague of Unbelief is not just the period of time where... Oh, I know the name of the world. No, it's not Sebastian Thor. Cardinal Bucharest, that's it. And Gathalamor, where Cardinal Bucharest created a sort of secessionist empire that then got stomped by the Space Wolves. It's not that. That is called the Plague of Unbelief, that war. But the Plague of Unbelief is also an actual literal plague, apparently. And it's a zombie plague.
Yep. Naturally.
Yeah, I don't actually know where else I've ever... Because I've got to be honest, I had to do a bit of reading. I've never seen the Plague of Unbelief anywhere other than referenced as that war. I can't think of a book where I've seen the Plague of Unbelief occur in its zombie form.
Off the top of my head, it was mentioned in one of the supplements for the Inquisitor game. I think it was the Thorian Handbook.
Oh, right, that niche.
Yeah. But don't forget, remember, like, Inquisitor was also the game that introduced the concept of the Angel, you know, the weapon the Emperor created before the Primarchs and before the Thunder Warriors, who was so powerful he could destroy demons.
Right.
I want them to reference that in the Siege of Terror books, and only because, like, Gav, you came up with the concept, follow through.
20-odd years later, follow through.
Oh, not just Gav. Graham helped you. It was Gav and Graham who wrote that, so both of you follow through. Thank you. They're involved in the Siege. They're involved in the Siege series. They can bring it in.
Fair enough. But yes, so yes, Plague of Unbelief is a thing, and they realise that they can't contain it. Like, they quarantine away the different Valhallan and Talon regiments that are present, but they can't keep it out of their ranks. And the solution they come up with is, well, it's an interesting one, because how do you defeat a chaotic zombie plague?
With an Imperial zombie plague.
Yeah.
Well, option one
was...
was...
Let them fight.
Option one was fire, and they tried fire, but they didn't have enough fire, and they wanted to preserve the city. But the planetary governor, like the 6th planetary governor in a row, because it's in the middle of a campaign where they've just put down a chaos cult on the world, or a traitor cult of some kind, has just been overthrown. So the planetary governor's housing has changed hands a number of times, and it's basically ended up in the hands of some journalist who's like 17th in line, because he's the only one who didn't want it, so they gave it to him. And he ends up getting sick. And they end up curing him with some concoction that has been blessed by the cardinal. So what they decide to do is create this, I can't remember if it's holy water or something else, this blessed concoction, and load it into airburst shells for basilisks, because Kane's with an artillery regiment at the time. Or, no, Kane's old artillery regiment are on planet alongside Kane's current regiment. So they load their airburst Earthshaker shells with this blessed solution and just carpet bomb with holy water, and it works.
Fair enough.
Only in 40k could that be a thing.
It does help as well that Kane, whilst delivering the... What's he delivering? Was it the orders? Or was it the first batch of shells? I forget exactly what he was doing. He was doing a delivery run through the sewer, and he runs across a Nurgle champion, a sorcerer who is essentially directing the zombie horde, and kills him, because, so Kane gets battered back. I don't think he loses an arm, but he comes very close to, and his null aid just pops up and goes, "My turn," and eviscerates him with a melter gun, which helps to sort of stop the tide of zombies from attacking, because they're all kind of being coordinated by this sorcerer. But yeah, airburst holy water bombardment is how to cure the plague of unbelief, apparently.
I quite like that. I think that's very fitting.
It's very 40k that how do you defeat the ruinous powers? Faith.
Tactical holy water. Bring it out.
Yeah, it does make sense of using the power of faith as a weapon where conventional arms won't work. But yeah, so that was Old Soldiers Never Die. It was very quick, it was very short. But Kane is very likeable, as always, very well written by Sandy Mitchell. And Amberly Vale makes her very good snide comments in an addendum at the end, sort of explaining some of Kane's jargon and roasting a few people.
I really like that. I mean, I listen to a lot of the audiobooks, and there's only, I think, 2 First Kane audiobooks, but they do add in the little bits at the bottom in Amberly Vale's actress's voice. I think that's brilliant. Such a nicely written character. I like it.
Yeah, I think there was... I had it and I've lost the line. Yeah. I had it and I've completely forgotten it now of what I was going to say that was it. So there's excerpts. So it's Kane's memoirs as curated by Amberly Vale. That's how the books work. But Vale also adds her own interjections with passages from other proses, sort of to add context where Kane missed a bit.
Where he's he may have exaggerated a little bit, and she corrects him.
Yeah, partly that, or also he didn't talk about the next 4 days. His next entry is 4 days later, but this is what happened in this time, as told by somebody else, is how they often use it in this case. So they include bits from the planetary governor, who writes his own memoirs and shows his gradual degradation from the plague of unbelief. And also... And Vale is very clear on this. I loathe to include this because it includes even more hyperbole than Kane. But it does help with adding additional context of some Valhallan author's prose on the deeds of Caiaphas Kane, sort of written third person, like a biography type thing. And it completely exalts Kane like a living saint or something. And she's like, I really don't want to include this, but it does have necessary context, so here you go. You really get the character. She doesn't say much, but you really do get the character of Vale just from her little bits of commentary.
Exasperation, I assume, as well.
Oh yeah, definitely exasperation.
Now the question is, were you at all at any point reading this book humming the Caiaphas Kane song?
No, because I don't know it.
What do you mean you don't know it?
I mean, I don't know it.
You didn't watch that episode? God. We're going to have to rectify that.
Which episode?
The Caiaphas Kane episode.
Of what?
TTS.
Wait, that was it. Oh God, what did I... Was it a short that I just missed somewhere? What? How did I forget this? How did I forget this? Oh no, I've messed up. I've completely forgot.
There you go.
That one. Yeah, I admit, I think I probably skipped that one now, actually, that I think about it. I think I skipped that one.
It's only 5 minutes. Okay, watch it after this episode's finished recording.
Fine.
It's only 5 minutes.
Fine, duly noted. Yeah.
I think I might have a look at that myself.
Featuring a special guest appearance by Marnius Calgar.
It's Alpha. Of course it does. What else have I read? Oh, the other stuff I've been reading is all Sigmar stuff. It's good, but it's all Sigmar stuff, so I'll move past it for the moment.
I'm still trying to debate what to read after finishing Godblight. Because I will say this, like, in regards to Godblight, it started getting good now, so, like, with the fight between Mortarion and Guilliman, I'm not going to lie, I'm enjoying the fight scene between the two. That's getting pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
We've got more scenes than one that Remleiz enjoys. It's already an improvement.
I'll say this, it was much better than Plague War. Plague War was mostly shit apart from the last chapter.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I do like the books, but even a hardcore Ultramarines fan, that was a bit of a struggle. But Godblight, I enjoyed all of it. I'm probably gonna have to listen to it again, thanks to you, because there's so much stuff you can unpack from that book.
I mean, the main reason I'm reading that is because people keep saying, like, oh, you need to check out, because what do you think of this thing that happens in the book? So I've not read the fucking book. I was like, oh, what do you think of that thing that happened in the book Penitent? I've not read Penitent, so I couldn't tell you.
I think with Godblight particularly, it does set up some major shifts in the paradigm of the Imperium and Chaos. If it gets followed through, it'll be nice. I mean, I'm sure there will be another series of books based on something. But yeah, you know, if people haven't gone and read or listened to the audiobook, I would recommend it. Even if you don't like Ultramarines that much, just the overall storyline and the events that happen are worth having a read.
I'll just say the best character of this entire book was Kugath.
Oh yeah, I like the personality of the Ground Clean ones is brilliant, and the rivalry with each other.
You're going to need to tell a few of our newer viewers who Kugath is, because he's not in the most recent books for Chaos.
Kugath is basically a Great Unclean One who is second only in Nurgle's favour. Well, then again, pretty much everyone says that. But basically, he was originally a Nurgling that fell into Nurgle's cauldron, drank it all up, and then turned into the most powerful of Great Unclean Ones.
Yes, and he's still... I think he had, like, Nurgling grenades at one point.
He also feels incredibly guilty about what he done. He's like, I ruined Grandpa's diseases.
He does, yeah, he's always talking about it, how much... yeah, I like that.
He feels so guilty about it.
Yeah, it's like Nurgle worked up the perfect plague and Kugath just fell in, damned it, and now he's trying to recreate it and never will. And
then Rotigus turns and is like, hey Kugath, guess what? And it's like, oh, go away, Rotigus, no one likes you.
You get a lot of personality from them. Yeah.
Please tell me Rotigus is like, at least there is one reference to making it rain with Rotigus. Please. He's the rain father. Come on.
There was one scene where like Mortarion tells Kugath, like, I need you to whip up a storm, and Kugath's like, whip up a storm? What does he think I can just do it like that? Does he know how much work it takes to whip up a storm? Gah! Fine. Here, stir this.
And presumably Rotigus, if he had heard it, would just go, and it would just happen.
Make it rain. There's dollar bills.
Yes, that's what I was getting at. Well.
It's like Rotigus, get out of Slaanesha's palace.
Oh dear.
You brought that on yourself.
I know I did. It's fine. I do wonder, like, obviously you're talking about this whole idea of a lot of big world-shifting stuff coming out of God, but obviously I'm not going to get into spoilers here because, you know, Rem's not finished. But it would be interesting to see at what point Dawn of Fire crosses into Dark Imperium and they actually talk to each other, because they did say specifically they rewrote Dark Imperium's timeline to take place in the middle of the Indomitus Crusade so that there will be an intersection with Dawn of Fire. So it would be interesting to see how the two then link into each other and how the events of Plague War and Godblight go on to influence the later Dawn of Fire books.
Yeah, I've not read any of those, so...
The first Dawn of Fire I found to be a rather unfocused mess for the most part of it.
I quite enjoyed it, though. I admit that's because I read so quickly that I didn't lose any of the 5 plot threads at any point. The second one jumps around even less, and I really enjoyed the second one. Because they've announced the third one, haven't they?
Yeah, Wolf Time.
Yeah, I thought, oh god, yeah, space. Yeah. I've got to slog through a space walls.
Because like in the first Dawn of Fire, I was kind of like, okay, chapter 2 interested in this plot point in chapter 2. It doesn't get brought up again until chapter 27.
Oh, okay, right.
It's like, yes, I understand the importance of Chekhov's gun, but you need to remind people a little bit earlier than 25 chapters later.
Yeah, especially when you're juggling 5 plot threads at once.
It's basically like, oh, hey, remember this? It's like, no, I don't actually, because you didn't remind me.
Yeah. So it's not like, oh, you remember this from 50 pages ago? No, you haven't mentioned that plot, not even that plot arc for the last 50 pages. How am I going to remember? It's difficult. And I don't envy Guy Haley for having to write it, but it is essentially 5 novellas weaved together in one novel, and only really 2 plot threads run side by side to each other.
Yeah.
So
as I said last time, I think like if you took like 1 or 2 of them out and just released them as like standalone novellas, that probably would have been better to like as like a little sister book kind of thing, and like the rest of them will probably like run a lot smoother.
Or just put them together in one book in a different order. So you put...
Well, that's one, yeah.
Like, take the Space Marine stuff, make that the first 2/3 of the book, and the back 1/3 is the non-Space Marine stuff that goes on aside from McCord to Sound. So like, the McCord to Sound plot thread is 2/3 of the book, and it runs to its conclusion. And then you do the other half of it with the other characters, and then in the last chapter you cross the 2 stories together to make it seem like you actually did have a plan when you wrote this book. But yeah, it wasn't the best in terms of layout, and Gate of Bones handles it better, in my opinion, in terms of juggling having an Imperial Guard plot thread and having a second Imperial Guard plot thread, and then having a Chaos plot thread and having a Knights plot thread, and then a Cultist plot thread. It is still juggling 5 different plot threads, but they're often set as antagonistic to each other. So the Knights plot line plays against the Chaos Space Marine plot line. They are tied inextricably to one another. And the Custodes plot line and the 2 Guard plot lines weave themselves together to make one plot line, and then that then merges into the Chaos Cultist plot line right at the end, which then all comes together, and they bring all the plot threads together, rather than Avenging Sun, where there's 2 separate stories happening at once, and then there's the quick reference to one to the other at the end. Sorry, I'm trying not to spoil it, because I know it's been out for a while, but in case you want to get around to reading it, I don't want to spoil it.
Alternatively,
I might give it a miss, you know.
Also, alternatively, what they could do in regards to the plot is just do what they do, like the Watchers of the Throne series do, like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Rather than going like 1 2 1 3 2 3 4 5 2 1 4 5 kind of thing.
Just be more consistent in the layout.
Yeah.
So it's going to be this thread, this thread, this thread, then the first thread again in the same order every single time.
Again, it worked for the Watchers of the Throne series, where you're following like a custodian, a sister of science, and an imperial politician.
But I mean, like Siege of Terror has a lot of plot threads that it has to juggle.
I know, but they generally handle them better.
Yeah.
Probably because it's focusing pretty much like on the same battle, just different parts of the same battle kind of thing, in a way.
True.
Like it's all focused around to like, you're not going from like Terra to Macragge back to Terra to Baal to Macragge again.
True. Very true.
Speaking of which, I can't wait for Warhawk to come out.
Yeah, it's been a while now since we talked about Mortis, and it did leave some interesting things in place. And
end on a pretty big cliffhanger as well. It's like, oh shit, there's the Ezra just broken through the walls of the Imperial Palace. The Imperial Palace? Oh god, that's even worse. It's like, Ezra broken through. What happened? Tune in next week for new adventures of the Black Shadow. I have no idea what I'm referencing now. I think it's Top Gear. Anyway, what was I on about? I think my internet's died,
No?
No? Okay.
No,
I just scared everyone off.
I'm just not sure how to process what just happened. It's fine.
We're just going to ignore all mentions of the Imperial phallus.
Is that a Sly Marvo moment? Might be. Right. Should we do some questions?
Or is she screaming? Or head desking?
Oh, we've already had the head desk.
Ah, bugger, I missed it.
Yeah, it was while you were doing the big description of the whole Tyranid dissection thing in my WhatsApp.
Oh, I must have not heard that. Never mind. Right, not too many questions this week, surprisingly.
Fair enough.
Right, let's see what we can go for. Question on spoiler for Penitent. I've not read Penitent, so I'm not going to do that one, sorry.
Yeah.
Alright, question for Tack. How does the Farsight Enclave deal with Psychers?
Badly.
Care to elaborate?
Well, we haven't really got any data on the matter. Like, we know they fought off the Tyranids, but we don't really know how, and I'm hoping that whenever Phil Kelly gets round to writing the sequel to Empire of Lies, it details that war, and how how the Shadow in the Warp affects them, because certainly in Crisis of Faith, psychic powers aren't a thing. Well, they are, but they're referred to as mind science. That's how the Tower refer to psychic powers in general. And they don't have a countermeasure other than eliminate as quickly as possible. So they just view it as mind science, and thus it's just a high priority target. That's it.
That was when they fought in this. That was Highfleet Gorgon, wasn't it?
Which one that attacked the Enclaves?
Yeah, it was Gorgon, wasn't it?
No, Gorgon attacked the Empire.
Right.
It was. I think it was a splinter of. It might have been a splinter of Gorgon, but I feel like it was Leviathan or a splinter of Leviathan, because obviously there's like two different sets of Leviathan, and one's crashed into the east, one's come from below, and I believe that it was a splinter of Leviathan that attacked the Enclaves rather than Gorgon. I'm willing to be corrected. It's been a while since I did it, and I'm not even on my old PC where I could just grab the script from my Farsight video and check. But I think it was a Leviathan offshoot that hit the Enclaves.
Yeah, because I just remember that in regards to Gorgon, it's like, oh hey, here's a gene stealer from Highfleet Gorgon. Let's see what happens when it infects some of our people. Interesting. Oh no, we have a cult uprising on the world. Shit. Who could have foreseen that happening?
Yeah, between Deathwatch Shadowbreaker and the little short in the Tau Codex about it, yeah, I think the Tower should hopefully have got the message of stop messing with gene stealers.
Didn't one of those
haven't got the message because the Ethereals just don't tell them.
Funny enough, didn't one of those stories also end with the implication how one of the Ethereals is also a gene stealer hybrid or something?
Yes, it did. Like,
it was like the eccentric ethereal was like, oh no, it's fine. Really, it's fine. Shifty eyes. Really, ignore my fact my eyes are glowing orange.
Yeah, there is probably still a town G stealer colony out there somewhere.
Oh, there's a lot for you today, actually. Right. On the what-if scenario of the Death Guard invading the Tau homeworld, if the Tau go with blowing up their homeworld, how would the Empire, Auntshi, and the Enclave react to it? How would they deal with it in the long run? What would the Empire and Enclave plan on doing in case the Death Guard decide to come back and finish them off?
Well, if you blow up the homeworld, then you've lost a lot of communications infrastructure, and a lot of central governmental infrastructure, and the largest supply of Firecast, and probably the leaders of the Ethereal Cast, and Aircast, and Earthcast, and Watercast as well. So, it would be really hard to see what would happen in that scenario. It's a microcosm of what happens if Terra gets blown up. It's a microcosm, because obviously there's the Astronomicon isn't a factor here, but it is a microcosm. Take out the central source of government communication and military strength. What happens now? What happens is that everything falls apart.
It would, wouldn't it? Because you'd think about that the Tau might have adapted new weapons to deal with the Death Guard. But, yeah, if it's on the home planet and it's gone, they're kind of screwed.
Yeah, like, a lot of the Earthcast are very secretive about what they create. Like, if you make something, it's shared with the Empire and how to make it, but only after it's been rigorously tested. If some experimental weapon was deployed, there'll only be one of it. And if that goes boom and gets burned out, then it's gone. And it's scientists with it, most likely. So probably you'd find that instead of the Tau Empire, you would have sort of individual planets or septs, or maybe 2 septs together, as almost like mini little holdouts, little islands in the storm, rather than a cohesive whole. Now, that's not to say the Tau couldn't reform as an empire. Like, let's say most of the Ethereal Cast dies and is blown up or infected and has to be put down, then the Enclaves might think, okay, the Ethereals are gone, we've got the strongest army here, let's see what we can do to unify under Shova, Shas, and Anshi, possibly. And you might get something there.
Commander Farsight just pops in and go, hey, I can help you.
This question is a follow-up to a quite a long discussion we had in the last episode about like a rewrite of the Startide Nexus plotline.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's just we've already sort of established. Well, my sort of thought process is the Enclaves would probably be involved anyway, rather than sitting it out because they don't want the Empire to go pop, as the Damocles Gulf proved. But it would be interesting. I think the Enclaves would emerge as a very dominant power for certain because they've got the largest military strength and they prove they can survive without ethereal leadership. They're a paragon of what to follow in to survive the post-apocalypse. Ish. Maybe. I don't know.
Right. If Anshi returns to the Tau Empire and continue with his mission to talk into Farsight, could he and Farsight get along? Well, wasn't that pretty much the reason he was chosen to go and find Farsight in the first place? It's like, hey, he respects you, Anshi, because, you know, you're an actual soldier and a fighter, you know, so you're actually respectable as far as Farsight's concerned. But not going to happen because, like, hey, guess what? He got kidnapped by the Drukhari and now he's stuck in the rest of his life in Camorra.
That plot thread is going nowhere.
Unless they sort of kill him off or something, I don't know.
Well, okay, well, yeah. Then the plot thread is he died. The end.
But at least we've got to always remember him for the fact that he bisected an orc warlord in half with a stick.
Yes.
And they say the Tau can't melee. Anshi says hi. Right. Right. Question with minor spoilers of the Infinite and the Divine. You've read that, haven't you?
I have, though it's been a few months. Go on.
Right. In regards to the epilogue.
Okay.
Trazen asked the Deceiver how to enter the Great Rift. Why? Because why would he want to enter the Great Rift?
To plunder it, probably.
That's probably the most logical explanation. It's like, hey, like, there's some stuff in here that I can't get to. Therefore, I want it.
Also, just because Orican and Trazine worked together in that book for a bit, doesn't mean that they haven't resolved their differences. They still want to kill each other. Or one-up each other, at least. And anything that can be used as an advantage, given Orican ascended at some point during that book, and thus Trazine knows exactly how powerful Orican can be. He will want any advantage he can get. And what was the one weakness of the Necron tier for a long time in the Catan? Warpcraft.
Right. Has there ever been an instance in the lore where ordinary people have saved the day for Space Marines?
As in guardsmen or civilians?
When I say ordinary people, I assume they mean civilians.
I just
can't think of any. I was thinking about maybe in 30k, but I can't think.
I can't think of any that has civilians saving the day for Space Marines. I know there's ones where the Imperial Guard save the day for Space Marines, but not civilians.
Like, Marines view civilians as collateral damage.
Well, not all.
Most of the time.
Like, Marines Malevolent, definitely. Salamanders, no.
Yeah, I still remember seeing Hell's Reach with the Dockers and Grimaldus and Tushan? Yeah, I think it was Tushan. Where they have a massive Barney about, oi, why are you not helping us kill these orcs? Because we have civilians to protect. Civilians to protect, bah! Type thing. I don't remember exactly how it goes. It went a lot better than that. But Grimaldus and Tushan did have a bit of a Barney about it.
I mean, it's not as bad as was it when the Marines Malevolent decided to shell a refugee camp? It's like, oh, there's some orcs there. Let's shell the refugee camp. And then Tushan just walked up to the commanding Marines Malevolent officer and just knocked him the fuck out.
Yep, that's Tushan. To be fair, Grimaldus was more annoyed about the fact that 4 Templars died while attempting to pursue the orcs because they didn't have the Salamander fire support. That was what Grimaldus was annoyed about, as I recall. Yeah. It wasn't even, hey, we could have killed the orcs.
Was that Armageddon 2 or 3?
3.
3, yeah.
Yeah, the Armageddon Crusade.
Yeah. Because Armageddon 3, that was when the Salamanders spent most of their time protecting civilian convoys.
Yes, as I recall. And I'm trying to think, there is a little bit in Hell's Reach that does tell the story from a civilian... No, it doesn't. Their ex-guard perspective. Sorry, their ex-guard, ex-Cassican or ex-guardsman.
Well, isn't ex-guard technically a civilian then because he's no longer in the guard?
Still got military training, though, so does it count?
As much training as it counts in the guards. I guess what, you've been conscripted, son.
Point very much taken.
Right.
Yeah, I can't even think of any, no braver stars. I'll take the bomb into the place because I know I'll have no that classic heroic sacrifice thing. I've never even seen a civilian do that. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, cut you off.
I mean, the closest other thing I can think of is maybe a navigator, but that doesn't really count.
No.
Right. What would happen if the custodians were all killed off and there was no way to rebuild them? Then there would be no custodians guarding the Emperor. Which means he'd probably have to rely on maybe something like, I don't know, the Grey Knights as bodyguards?
Sisters Silence?
Well, they work in tandem anyway, so...
It would be something like... I'd imagine it might be Imperial Fists might take over duties.
I'd probably still say Grey Knights are probably more, unwavering in their duties, because...
And incorruptible.
Yeah.
Custodians... From a fluff point of view, that does make sense if they did it.
Rebrand as the Gold Knights or something. I don't know. Someone's going to make that a chapter now, the Gold Knights. Golden Grey Knights.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. There are... Just have it be the inverse of Kittens from TTS. It's instead of their armor being twisted from gold to silver, it was twisted from silver to gold by some chaotic eruption and it won't wash out.
It's oh no, it's Caldor Drago, he's back. He's bringing the hams. And they're fully cooked. I have no idea where I'm going with this. Anyway.
Me neither.
Something the warp did it. We haven't said that in a while. Right. Can a regular human be put into a dreadnought? I know they couldn't first edition, but that was back when they were just piloted mech suits. So laws changed quite a bit since then.
Yeah, because you
don't...
don't...
Space Marines have all the, the gubbins as they're trained to be connected up to their suit and stuff, so I assume it would be the same for a dreadnought.
Yeah, I'd assume you'd need a black carapace.
Well, custodians have dreadnoughts as well, and do they actually have black carapaces?
No, they're psychically crafted, not genetically.
So therefore, they don't need a black carapace to be turned into a dreadnought?
I don't believe so, but they also are, biopsychically modified in many ways.
Magic!
Yes, magic.
A wizard did it. Literally.
Literally, in this case.
At best, if someone tries to probably end up with an orc dread where someone's literally just hammered in, had wires plugged in, and get turned into a very angry tin can.
I reckon that's what would happen if they, a bit like RoboCop style, it just drive someone insane. I reckon.
Just turn into an Ed 209.
Yeah.
Like the original Space Crusade dreadnoughts. There we go. There's our link. Because do you remember the Space Crusade dreadnoughts?
I do, yeah.
I think I own one.
Yeah, because they were Ed 209s.
Yeah, they were, weren't they?
So there we go. There's our connection going back from RoboCop to that. There we go. I'm surprised they actually haven't brought those old dreadnoughts back in terms to like an homage in Horus Heresy or anything like that.
They do look a bit like Deradeos ish, slightly, but yeah, I would love to see them be reimagined.
Yeah, I mean the closest thing I can think of that looks like them today are the Armigers.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's like the closest thing I can think of that they look like today.
But the shape of the chassis with the weapons over the side, it definitely had to have influenced the design of the 30k Deradeo dreadnought.
It might have done, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be nice if it was a bit more obvious, but then again, it might have to change it because of, I don't know, maybe it didn't want to be sued by RoboCop. Not the company that owns the film, by RoboCop himself. They don't want Paul Weller coming up to him and say, like, you are under arrest. I'm talking shit again, aren't I?
I'm not saying nothing.
That's a yes then. Okay. Right. Do you think the reason why GW made the orcs believe that purple is a sneaky colour is a reference to the clothing of ninjas because that was purple, not black?
I mean, I know obviously maybe the like purple being sneaky and white representing death and blue representing luck. I can't think of, I don't know enough history to know where those have come from.
Because isn't in parts of Asia, isn't white considered the colour of death?
Yeah, because it's certainly not in the West. Black is often associated with death in the West. So I'd assume it is from somewhere in the East, but I don't want to speak on it because I'll get it wrong. I know I will.
That's fair. I mean, to be honest, like I've heard stupider explanations in regards to why orcs think purple's sneaky. So there's probably some truth to this. It probably is something like, oh, let's make a reference to ninjas. Because ninjas are sneaky and they wore purple. There we go.
Yeah, and maybe the horsemen of a certain society that wore red had the swiftest horses in the land. So that's where the idea of red ones go faster comes from. I don't know.
Never know. Right. How are we doing for time? Oh, we still got some time. Right. Right. What did Hector Rex do after Vrax?
Right, okay. Refresh my memory here. Hector Rex, Lord Inquisitor, led the final assault on Vrax, right?
As far as I can recall, yes.
Yeah. Probably oversaw the purging and reconstruction and then left.
And then went home for tea.
He's an Inquisitor. Like, he wouldn't be seconded to the world for long. He'd stay long enough to clean up the mess, then delegate to the Mechanicus and the Administratum and leave.
Sounds about right, doesn't it, really?
Mm.
Yeah, it's boring. I know it's the boring answer, but sometimes boring is the right answer.
Right. Timeline-wise, shouldn't the Celestial Lines be reinforced by Primaris and thus be back to full strength? I can answer this one.
No.
Right, so you know when like every chapter was getting like Primaris reinforcements by the Torchbearer fleets?
Mm-hmm.
The Celestial Lines never got one.
No, because they were already dead.
No, they were still around. There was just not very many left because they pissed off the Inquisition.
I thought they all died in that short on Armageddon.
No, because they were in the Emperor Spears novel. Because what's his name? Dubaku, I think his name is. He was new chapter master, and he had like a bunch of Black Templars with him. It's basically acting as bodyguards. Like we're going to make sure that no one comes after the Celestial Lions because we promised to protect them. But yeah, they never got a Torchbearer fleet, so all the technology to create Primaris themselves. So they basically had to bum the tech off the Emperor's spears because like they were all part of the same, that one group. protect this one particular region of space, along with the Star Scorpions, before the Star Scorpions, turn to chaos.
Yeah, I can't remember what they were called, the wardens of that region, yeah.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Just call them the Wardens to be easier, but yeah. They had to bum the tech off the Emperor's spears, and it's like, right, it's a glorious day, we're going to get ready and sort the stuff out. Oh no, my head's just been cut off by a Kalidas assassin. So they got the tech to make Primaris, they haven't got the reinforcements ready, and considering that the Inquisition was sending assassins to kill off their chapter master, it's probably not going to happen for a while.
It's certainly not looking good for them, and I can imagine that were they too reinforced, there would be another Rin's World incident of, oh, your fortress monastery just exploded. I wonder how that happened.
Accidentally. It must have been those pesky orc snipers.
Or a misfiring vortex missile or something, I don't know.
That was a very skilled orc sniper, that was. No, to be fair, knowing the orcs, I can imagine an orc trying to snipe with a rocket launcher.
I mean, what do you think tank busters are?
True. Ignoring the ones that run around with the hammers made of like missile shells.
Yeah,
smash.
they've actually rewritten the rules for tank hammers now. So back in the day, they used to be like strength 8 melee weapons. Like they were a rocket launcher on a stick. Strength 8 AP3, 1 attack, always strikes last type thing.
They were one use only, weren't they?
They weren't for a bit. I think like in 8th edition they weren't, and maybe in some earlier editions too. Maybe in 4th they were. But in 9th edition they're back to, here, do a few mortal wounds and you die. So it's not even that they're one use only, but the model survives. No, they are
just kamikaze units now.
Yeah, well, the tank hammer models are. The rest of the unit has rocket launchers, so it still works. But any model with a tank hammer is a one use only, like a bomb squig. It's just they're a worse bomb squig. A tank hammer is just a bad bomb squig. That's the level we're at now. It might do more hits, but you've got to get to melee first with your mid-range heavy weapon toting unit. Has to get to melee. Nah. Well. Actually, speaking of Space Marines and the Emperor Spears, so I saw something on Twitter that it got retweeted. Someone created, I don't know who they were, but they created a Dembski-Bowden family crest, like with for Aaron Dembski-Bowden. I've just popped it into there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pretty neat. I like that.
With a white Space Marine helmet and, of course, a midnight-clad shield with white lightning to represent the Night Lords that obviously he's best known for. I'll pop the image onto screen so you can have a look at it. It's a really, it's not the most high image quality, but it's a really nice little thing.
That's really wholesome.
Yeah, Aaron retweeted it, so Aaron's aware of it. I'm not showing this without him knowing first. But yeah, I really like the look of that, and I just thought I'd share that with you two because I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, I didn't see that. That's a really nice thing to do. I like it.
It was. Are they a Black Library author?
Who?
It says that it's Matthew Holmes.
Holmes?
But their @ is at Matthew Holmes BL. I don't know if that's Barrister of Law or Black Library. It's because they seem... Oh, no. They're a barrister and they're an author, so it could be either. I don't think they're Black Library, but...
I don't think they are. The only Matthew I can see on Black Library is Matthew Farah. Who did the Serpent and the Saint book?
Right. Yeah, I can't see anything.
Also, the Word Bearer short story as well, and the Enforcer. Oh, and the Enforcer books.
Yeah, I can't. I'm just looking at that. I mean, I'm just kind of scrolling down their Twitter, and I can't see anything that makes me think they're a Black Library author. But yeah, well, there you go. That's a thing.
Fair enough. Right, we got time for one more?
Yeah, I think we've got time for one more.
Right, will Luther kill Marbus at the end of the Fallen plotline? For context, shortly before Luther managed to escape from the Rock, the Demon Prince Marbus, who was a fallen member of the Dark Angels, launched an assault upon the Rock, which led to Luther escaping. And basically, ever since then, a huge force of Fallen has been gathering in Imperium Nihilus, and Azrael thinks that's Luther leading them.
So that's early 8th edition lore, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not been followed up on, has it? Because it's been mentioned that they're gathering in like Legion size,
yeah.
but then it's just they've not. It's not been, as far as I know, it's not been followed through.
It probably won't be followed through, considering that in 8th edition was like it was past the Indomitus Crusade, and now we've gone back to the Indomitus Crusade for 9th. Like we've actually gone back a few centuries. So we probably won't get this mentioned this edition. Maybe next edition.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that'll be it for this time round, just because of time.
Alright, fair enough. Well, with that all said, unless anything further is on people's agendas for discussion, or anyone's got anything they want to share before we close?
Not that I can think of.
No, I'm good. I'm happy to be here and just, hang out with you two chaps and be asked back on this podcast again.
Well, thank you very much for joining us once again. I will leave a link or two in the description so you can check out more of Chickpaints' work yourself. If you've seen some of the work on Warhammer Community and want to get a bit of a look. Do you take commissions?
No.
Okay, fair enough. I just thought I'd ask in case there was a promo needed doing that. So with that said then, thank you very much everyone for tuning in to this episode of Adeptus Podcastus, and we do hope you have enjoyed it. Make sure to leave your questions in the comments below with the word question, and we will do our best to answer what we can in the next coming episodes, which hopefully will include a godlike discussion, because I'm now really excited to learn where this book goes, and I hope we get a chance. But we shall see. And with all that said, this has been Tactica Imperialis.
This has been Remleiz from 40k Theories.
And it's been Chickpaints from Chickpaints.
And we'll see you all next time. Bye for now.